So Intel today have just launched their brand new 4nm Meteor Lake or Core Ultra CPUs, and they're looking like some of the best processors available with a lot of focus on AI. But alongside that announcement, ASUS have just launched this little guy, the new Zenbook 14 OLED, which has a 14-inch 3K OLED display, 15+ hour battery life, and is powered by said Intel Core Ultra processors up to a 9 spec. And this, for reference, is one of the Core Ultra 7s. I believe there will be some AMD versions as well in certain regions, which will come with slightly differing prices, but we don't have all the information on that right now. But who are these machines for? Well, to be honest, it's for anyone who's looking for something that has a really nice sleek design and also a really nice halfway house between performance and portability. It's a great all-in-one for most people, covering most bases, like that OLED display. It's 120Hz and has a 0.2 millisecond response time, so everything looks really nice and smooth, and it's touchscreen if that's your jam. It's got 100% DCI-P3 color gamut, Tuverainen iCare and VESA Display HDR 600 True Black certification. So the color reproduction is excellent and everything looks really bright and vibrant, something video and photo editors will appreciate, but more on performance in a second. The bezels are really nice and small, so great immersion, and hidden in the top bezel you have a pretty great Full HD camera, which works well for work conference video calling, chats with friends and family, etc. And with ASUS's tuning, it really is one of the better webcam experiences I've tested on a laptop. The screen also has a peak brightness of 550 nits, so it's fine to use outdoors too, and it has a 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio for really bright highlights and deep inky blacks. Now, key to note, this is a glossy display here. That is my personal preference on a laptop again, but if you are somebody who really is worried about reflections, you may be better suited to going down a matte finish laptop screen route. Pros and cons to both, so preference here is key. And speaking of key, the nice stiff hinge allows the screen to fold completely flat at 180 degrees and slide underneath the keyboard, which is pretty comfortable to type on with a minimal 1.4mm travel, so the large keycaps don't feel mushy when pressed, and they're all well laid out, although I do struggle sometimes when the arrow keys are as small as this. They just feel a little bit cramped. The keyboard is fully backlit with multiple light settings. The trackpad is possibly slightly smaller than I'm used to, but then I tend to use larger laptops on the whole, so there is generally more space for them. And to be fair, it has a really nice click to it and is well calibrated, reliable and responsive, and has an anti-fingerprint coating and multi-touch gesture support. But it also has a secret hidden weapon. If you press the top right icon on the touchpad, you also get a touch-sensitive number pad, which I think is really cool. You can tell they've certainly gone to a lot of time and effort to make touchpads better. I also really like these angular lines and matte textured ponder blue coloured finish to it, although it is a bit of a nightmare for fingerprints. It does also come in a foggy silver colouring as well, and that probably will be slightly better for that problem. TV's just gone off. Back on. Gotta love a bit of magic, right? But either way, because it's aluminium alloy, it's super light and possibly the ideal Windows option for chucking in your bag and taking with you on the go. The Harman Kardon certified speakers with Dolby Atmos support are pretty impressive when taking into account how razor thin this Zenbook 14 OLED really is, and it probably only needs maybe an oomph more bass to really knock your socks off in the audio department, but performance has certainly been no slouch. Equipped with that Core Ultra plus 32GB of LPDDR5X RAM and up to 1TB SSD, it's beefier than the size suggests. Good things come in small packages, right? You also have an Intel Arc GPU, and here are some pretty impressive Cinebench benchmark scores in performance mode and plugged in to power. While you can do some photo and video editing on this laptop, and a similar theme for gaming, if you want the very best experience and super high-end, full to the pumps, system-hungry games, then you may struggle a little bit, but you still can definitely partake in some gaming and some 3D animation on programs like Blender. You just may not get optimum performance when it starts to heat up. You only have a fairly small heat exhaust vent on one side with the air intake underneath. But when you take into account the size and for all the main things that most people would use a laptop for, this thing is mightily impressive and can cut through traffic without a stutter. Web browsing, media streaming and work documents are a breeze. Also, thanks to that Intel Core Ultra processor, the machine has a MPU that can deliver low latency AI computing that is independent of connectivity with stronger data privacy. Next to that heat exhaust vent, you have one Type A port and all the other major ports on the other side, including two Type-C Thunderbolt 4, which can be used to charge, an HDMI 2.1 and a headphone jack, making up the array. So it does seem like they have not included any kind of SD card slot support, unfortunately. Software-wise, it's running on Windows 11 Pro and has a kind of ASUS suite called My ASUS, which offers a whole host of customizable options for display, battery, audio, and more. And that battery has a 75 watt-hour capacity. GlideX gives convenient cross-platform compatibility with screen sharing, file transfer, and dual screen capability. And the Screen Expert 3.0 in the My ASUS section lets you have floating windows for things like Control Center, App Navigator, and Camera and Microphone Switcher, which lets you easily jump in and out of different apps, but also check more settings and toggle your video and audio from enable to disable and back as required. When you take into account the size and weight and sheer portability of this thing, plus on top of that gorgeous display, competitive battery, and really compelling performance for 95% of what you'd use a laptop for, the new Zenbook 14 OLED really covers most bases and should definitely be on your list, at least to compare when you're thinking about getting a new kind of all-in-one small laptop. I will leave a link in the video description below for the Zenbook 14 OLED for more information and purchase links, etc., including pricing. Drop a like on the video if you did find that helpful. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. My name's Adam. You've been the best as always. I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. So, peace out.